Hi everybody, welcome to the Voice of Evolution. Today I'd like to bring a short introduction to an essential part of the repair of the earth, and it's actually like a reply on a video that the New Earth project came about, and that is the ecosystem and the introduction of entropy, and how everything needs to come into a fusion with the original memory cords in order to let that data and information flow through to bring the repair to the soil. So thank you so much, Imani, for bringing that video through. Thank you so much, Savoy, for opening up entropy to people. And so here the reason for this video is actually to bring through the missing links that are extremely important, and which has been my life work for 15 years right now. Because if we go back to where everything broke down in dualism, dual consciousness, and so the monsters of the universes could come true, which today is called the Matrix, but in the former days, eons ago, it were crystalline grids that were broken down through grid keepers that didn't keep their word or their assignment, and that is how it happened, how the fall happened actually such a long time ago, and created actually the dark ages. Now as we're moving into crystalline consciousness and the universe is reorganizing everything, the soil, the earth, the elements are reorganizing everything. It is a natural that our system, our cellular construction, our anatomy needs to reorganize with that, and that can only be done through the installation of the origin and reorganizing with that through the crystalline light earth grid links. And so all of the crystals in the earth actually that crosses major portals in the universe's celestial and the new solar system, and vortexes and dimensional doorways that connect the earth to, or reconnect the earth to cosmic forces and sources and other worlds, is reason why that light grid technology is so important, because it brings the spiritual neuroscience back on the ground floor, which is needed to override and to bring solutions to what we are living today. So it is through the grids that new consciousness can rise into pure spirit consciousness minus any mind control. And so that is being anchored through these grids, because you need a light vehicle, a light embodiment, as is requested from the divine today, not a light body of 10 years ago, now, today. And that has all changed. As we go on the Google machine, we see old instructions, old airy-fairy meditations, no alignments, and that even breaks everything more down than we can possibly imagine. So re-education comes in the first place to the re-education of light embodiment, which today is termed the Makeva, that equalizes with all the masters on the other side, and many are already planted on this side. So we are being requested to become a crystalline grid beam, and that goes to the bone construction, that goes to shifts in diet, that goes to shifts in our athletic content or exercises, because the human body can no longer withstand old energies any longer. So the brain and the body connected to ego has energy centers, right? We have energy wheels, or what some call chakra systems, organs, muscles, blood circulation, the entire infrastructure of the body needs to match the new infrastructure of the soil, of the earth. The heartbeat of the earth needs to come back to the origin of the heartbeat within, some people call love, but there's so many levels, degrees to upgrade into love and to upgrade into light. And so that is moving from kindergarten light technology into the light technology of high school into your university degrees of light, grid technology and neuroscience, actually. So the infrastructure all intercommunicates with the nervous system, the veins, the arteries. And so it was easy at one times for the chakras to be influenced by exterior stimuli, and that would need frequent realignment, recalibration to the grid to avoid any disease or infiltration to the malfunctioning of diseases from filtering in, and the vulnerabilities. I'm sorry, I had an accident, so certain words I cannot really pronounce well. Implants, hybrids, monsters of the universe, we can all eliminate that through becoming a crystalline grid plant and reconnecting to the origin of the earth. So that is when we open up to light intelligence, high level knowledge, data entering the body that bring through a lot more shifts. So let's say when anchoring a home-based crystalline station, actually, which is the most important thing we can all do, and grid that solidify that grid in the body, that will assist any transmutation from disease into pure health, from being a dense metal into being liquid light. So liquid light never carries disease, nor can disease enter a liquid light embodiment. And once that is understood, you can understand that no vaccine, no medication can have an effect on a light body as equipped to a universal consciousness aligned to the divine, your spirit, your source, your spark required today. So, and that is quite a lot to understand, to install, but it's fun to do, because the grid, once it is anchored, it will travel with you wherever you go, and all you need to do is to pull it through with your breathing system through any dense situation, through schools, police, injustices, through fireworks, through violence, anything you encounter through the day. Because if your breathing system is being uplifted into the breath of light, the eternal breathing system that goes a few miles in circumference, then that energy that you breathe out grounds the grid, and the grid will do as being requested by the divine. So all you need to do is to plant it down and watch the changes happening, and that is the way how more and more truths will come out. As of now, we've only seen about 30% to my observation, okay, because I've been eliminating that worldwide like for 15 years now, and time has come. We need to gather in community, create communities, create sub-devices or sub-communities, and expand that worldwide into every continent, into every country. And even in every country, we can create sub-teams, actually, or sub-communities. And then it gets very interesting if we work together as a team, each with their specialty. So there is actually a central shaft that will be built in a body, moving into a light body, that opens the root to the crown to the root, into the multi-universes, and that aligns to all 12 universes. So what is important to understand here is why at this time around, with so many atrocities going on, did the earth not go into oblivion? The reason why is because the earth is important for all the other universes. And so it is moving into its nucleus and bringing balance to all the 12 universes. Remember the 12 tribes of Israel that have become 12 teams of light with which we work. So do not think I cannot understand that. It is not too hard once your light body has been installed. And so when opening your beam multidimensional, you will be able to tap into high level knowledge, technology, healing modalities, data, information that has gone lost in the old scriptures. So when opening your hands, your feet, and that is when your hands, your finger just touch anything, that touch pulses out light frequencies, technologies, designs that actually remove the negative forces. So it's very important. So let's say if we have a grid, right, that are lines up and down, lines intersecting, horizontal, vertically, so we create squares, and these squares, they have dots, right? Such a square in the universe is being termed a light room for information. And so how is information coming through? So in order to no longer be controlled by implants in the first place, hybrids, chemical mind control, name it, there is so much. I don't really want to dig into it anymore. I've been there for far too long. So I'm here to bring through the solutions, work together on a higher level in order to create flawless victory over the atrocities. And I think we have to move smart and fast before a second wave or a second lockdown moves through and cuts down our capacity to fly from one country into the other. So every point on a grid, that which no acupuncture points equal to, is actually an energy exchange point for information. So when installing the grids and these ley lines come through, so does the universe and the elements have an access point through your acupuncture points in the body. And that is how intercommunicative links, universally speaking, come through and bring through high level solutions. So that is, your capacity will augment drastically. And so because you work with telepathic wavelengths, scalar waves, sound waves, bringing through new music for the musicians, like Elijah Ray, for example, and thus changing everything within comes right also through geometry and mathematics, because we have been coded to that. And every entity has different codes. So in order to bring that through, we need with technology in order to remember the higher purposes. And so we open up consciousness, we expand, eliminate the mind control, eliminate victim consciousness, eliminate fear in the first place, which is just a glandular outlet. But once it is known, And that is very important for the physicians. I'm very happy I met them on the summit, the New Earth Project, and that was so extremely beautiful how the gathering of intelligent, beautiful, interesting people came together with the physicians, the scientists, and everybody's with such a high level of knowledge in their domain. Many thanks as well to Ollie Damagaard. I really loved your output, and so everybody actually. But here, my work is to get everybody actually out of the airy-fairy content and how to start build communities, start with reorganizing the communities, and that is how we can repair the ecosystem. So here, Sovereign, thank you for explaining Centropy in the last video about the ecosystem with Imani. It was a beautiful conversation. I love that. So my missing links would certainly move very fast with the centropy, and so the earth, the soil would repair on a faster rate. I'm also talking, of course, about how to repair the oceans with our energy fields and get back from the elements in the oceans, the animal kingdom and the elements that are ready to show us new elements that are a necessity in order to bring new foods on the planet, new elements that will feed a light body. As we know, there's hardly anything we can eat with all that synthetic foods and the bread being cut off in the first place. So here I hope entities like Zach Bush and Dr. Rashid and the beautiful doctor in Ireland and many others are open to bring light technology through and assist people at least in clearing the lungs to the higher volumes of the eternal immortal breathing system. And so that is termed spiritual neuroscience and is not too difficult to learn about. What we need to do is actually be ready to eliminate a lot out of our own system and be ready to create a light body to which the technology comes through. So also here I'm in Belgium, near to Brussels, and so in my particular university city, it is exactly Leuven, if somebody knows it, I hardly see anyone wearing a mask. Because of what? The grids I pull through every day. I see bus drivers taking off their mask on an everyday level. I see those working in on the railway station or railway conductors taking off their masks. So of course there's always a part of people that are still wearing the mask, and there is a part of people who are waking up due to the crystalline grids being planted here massively by myself as a solo entity. And so bridging that into community building is extremely important, because, for example, how it's being done is, let's say, Imani, if I come to Connecticut, I have a group, maybe a small group of 20 people, so they're willing to learn about light body, they're willing to learn about how to quickly heal their children, their teenagers, etc. They're interested to become a grid beam and eliminate dense forces. That is already very, very great. So imagine there's maybe one teacher amongst us. That one teacher moving into a school, becoming a light crystalline grid beam, and knowing what to do as I teach what you can do, and that's not difficult. And that is just eliminating the atrocities. That entire school platform would change in such a short amount of time as the grids pull through truth on every angle, every dot, every acupuncture point. It is incredible what comes through. We can pull a grid through a computer, and that computer will show hidden content. We can pull grids to, well, dense forces within teachers. That is an example. We can have, for example, a police officer willing to learn this, be a grid beam at the police station and pulling the truths out there. I mean, can you imagine what comes through? It comes through the email, it comes through the conversations, as I will teach how to get truth out of the throat of entities. So they over here, they literally tell me, Nicole, if we meet you, I mean, I'm telling things I wouldn't ever say to anybody. So that is how it works. But it needs some teachings, right? And so maybe there's just some moms who are willing to work with foster kids, because they are going through the same atrocities as the child trafficking and the sexual abuse, and that would be great as well. Or another station working with kiddos and youth in psychiatric institutions, being a grid beam in psychiatry, or being a grid beam like a doctor or a nurse in a hospital. Oh my, that is the biggest change you can ever imagine, because you will find the hidden papers, the hidden volumes will pop up, and those that are hiding behind their lies. I mean, the missing links is really that is actually a centrifuge or a centrifugal force that pulls through that entire establishment. And so yeah, we raise awareness, and that is actually, let's say if we have that group of 20 people, and these 20 people each expand in 3 more people, or another group of 20 people, that's already 400 people, right? 20 times 20 is 400, and so that expands. And if we have these grid pulling through, let's say in every state in the United States, they have already been planted in many places by small groups willing to do the harder work, because that is needed. Then we can install interconnective communication ley lines in a communicative network with through the telepathic waves, so I can hear you. I can remember a million years ago, many within the New Earth project. It's just like they feel like a family. It's not new to me. And that came true while seeing a few entities in my grid through meditation. So you become a walking, talking meditation, continuously receiving information and bringing that through your channel. So in the healing department, it's very, very important to bring that through, especially for people, doctors, nurses in hospitals, to learn how to get that perfect eternal breath through the breath of life, and teaching people that, or even if daring enough, to completely clear the blood circulation system, especially the pulmonary artery of the human body, reconnecting with the universal pulmonary artery and the earth pulmonary artery, then you have a complete reconstruction of the entire circulation within. So all of that needs to be understood. It doesn't mean entities need to become a doctor or a nurse, but it's easy today. We have the Google machine. We can look up how the blood circulates to the body. We can look up the glandular construction, the exocrine, the endocrine system. We can just look it up, and just by breathing essences through, that can be learned through a seminar. So I think we need to really come up with these teachings, even if some people just want a 1 day alignment into the light body, or a 3 day complete overhaul. And the best would be a 7 day reconstruction, in which you can drive your motors up dimensions and back down. And so coming back to creating the prosperity, by creating forest gardens and getting the centropy down, that is working day and night 24/7 with and through the elements and high level communication systems. So that is literally communicating and continually changing as well the elements within your own body. And so that goes beyond the shifts through fasting and through diets. So we really need light technology and the spiritual neuroscience to move through. So I have so many examples here. I think experience actually matter. And let's say I've been living for 7 years with students on the ground floor and been giving a lot of solutions there. Solutions in the educational systems as well. And so I have a few videos about that. But what it comes down to is here, at a certain point in time, I had a student knocking on my door, and she said like, "Hey Nick, I know you do some stuff, and you know, I'm at the end." It was like May, and so she would end her mastery degrees and had to hand in a paper or a project at least to end and to get her diploma. And she said, "I'm completely stuck. It's like my brain is empty, cannot do anything. Can you fix it? Because I know you can do stuff, but I'm not completely aware." So I said, "Okay, just pop in and I'll do the work on you." So I worked on her brain for 2 hours, especially the circle of Willis, the blood circulation. I deblocked the glandular construction. And so it is, when you work with all universes, the celestial and the new solar system, you get information. When I touch somebody just like that, information flows through my fingers, through my heart, right into my brain. And I just know, and I just do, and I just listen what I need to bring through. And that can be very, very deep. So I did a lot of work. As I saw this clogged up blood circulation and so much old consciousness. I mean, I can almost smell that through brains. And so you can learn that too. It took me 15 years to really ground it and be ready to explain all that on a deeper level. But this is just an introductive video, as a reply to the video on the New Earth project on the ecosystem with Suverene and Imani. I was so glad you brought that too. Thank you, made me very happy to give more information about the centuries. So you see, here is a missing link. So about that lady, I did work like 1 hour and a half or something longer. And then I said, I didn't see her for 2 or 3 days, so I was kind of worried, because I know I can be pretty strong, but then again, she asked it, and so we can calibrate levels. Like if I work with a person 80 years old, I will bring through softer energies, okay? When I work with an 18-year-old, they get the full power, they can handle it. So that is also knowledge and intelligence fusing and bringing that neuroscience into the brains, eliminating anything termed mind, which is pure ego. Because if that has gone lost, then we can fuse the fissures in the brain. So look that up, fissures. That is exactly what dual consciousness is about. So, and then that lady, I saw her 3 days later, and she knocked on my door and she said, "Do you know what, Nick? Do you know what?" I said, "Oh my God." So I asked her, "What has happened?" She said, "When I came from your flat into my room, I started working and working and working all night through. I started and finished my whole project in that one night after your healing session." Now, isn't that something? She completely changed, and after that she came over with her family, because it's all about family and community building, in order to get light body in, light grid construction, and to bring the self back into the origin of authenticity. The origin of authenticity is being the spark self with the extreme levels of the higher self, which is just the universal levels, up into the beyond, where the spiritual astronomers, the spiritual scientists, the spiritual physicians of the divine reside, and they are bringing through that high level technologies. Ain't that something? So yes, that lady graduated like in a high level vibration, and it was so great to do that. It is just one experience. There's many I could expose here, but let's keep it to the community building as well. So let's say we have in Bali the light coming through with Sasha Stone and the New Earth University. So imagine gridding Bali with the New Earth University, bringing a line from Bali, for example, in Connecticut, from Connecticut into, for example, Cape Town. So then we have a triangle, and that is very important. 3 New Earth universities from one into the other. Why? Because we do know, understand the word dual consciousness, duality. That is exactly the same as our computer mechanics work on the computer, right? That is binary, 0, 1, 0, 1. And that is exactly what breaks everybody. So the universes are having a big laugh of that low technology. Thus we need to move into the trinary system, which we have been living for eons before the fall, or the dark ages actually, which we are finishing up. So understanding that we need to reorganize from the fall into now, and bringing back that triangular equation far beyond the dual ley lines actually, and that is massive. The pedigree of liquid golden ley lines, re-establishing the communication systems with all the elements. And so that is how communities are being built into communities, and from one level into the other, and expanding and expanding and expanding. Because, for example, if we grid Bali, and in the different cities over there, we grid that, and we create another triangular grid, and from that triangular grid, we create another with these dots all planted in a different city, and that is how we eliminate the infusion of what is happening right now. So also in a light body, we cannot have medication because it will not work any longer, and so the earth is moving into its ascent, so 6-dimensional configurations, into the ethers. So we are removing the mud from the ethers, and when that is being done and you become your spiritual etherical body, you start to load the memory cords, which you can do when we have eliminated the entire atomic construction, your cellular construction, and then we move in beyond that construction into new physiology. So that is very, very interesting. So I hope that makes a lot more sense, because it's the only missing link in every education and every health paradigm, and that eliminates mass control and manipulation and moves everybody into extreme health. And so that is a huge plan. Of course, I think we really need to start that out right now. I have here a grouping in Belgium moving into the open and willing to get that light body and grid technology through, in which you heal yourself, you heal the planet, you heal the elements first and foremost. And if you understand to what the elements are being made of, then we can understand how the food industry is completely cut off, and then we can understand the animal kingdoms, and then we can understand how we can repair them, because they are as important as we are. So, and I think it's very important here also that's not only about clearing the gut and thus, the term shit for brains, which are moving all around, that is refining your body so new elements can fuse with you, and having, that new communication coming through. So I think with everything also the farmers have been suffering with Monsanto and everything that Zach Bush already explained. I would certainly encourage to look up his videos. He's also on Facebook, Zach Bush. I will put on the links also in this video. And to the New Earth Project also on Facebook website, and there is a group on Slack. I can put all those links on, so please engage, connect, should you be willing to move out the atrocities that are happening right now, because we need to assist a lot more children being abused and manipulated in households that are not seen. So I'm not talking about foster kids or those in the sex industry being trafficked, and there is too much abuse there. So we really, through community building, we can like gather in a weekly content, right? It's more like replacing the churches by a temple or a dome of light in which we gather. So I can channel information. Let's say, in this case, if we have 20 entities in a community, and see what they experience on a weekly level, and so I can bring through new alignments in the body and in the brain, and give them special advice in their direction. So there is an advice to help people to move into a vegan diet, for example. There is an advice, a spiritual advice department, how to help to build the centropy with the forest gardens. Thank you, Suhawain, so happy for that term. Then there is an advisory department, maybe for those who are willing to work with youth and their problematic static. Then there is an advice department for those working in the police systems, in the justice systems, working with vets, and completely bring the change in the brains. Because if you have a light body in the light grids and you're working with light technology through your breathing system, that is all it requires. Because when your breathing system dies off, you die off, right? That is your living life forces back to where you come from, and that needs quite some rebuilding. But if we can do that through a seminar, and so I'm being assisted by all the light forces and all universal masters, then you experience a healing never experienced before, and then I can teach you how to do the same. So becoming in the independent. That is very important, yet always recreating or creating new programs for everybody in need, and that is community building by getting individual information, data, knowledge, intelligent forces together, creating a program for specific goals. And so that can go very far. So I hope we can open that up very, very soon, because time is up, and I hope, yeah, we are moving far too slow in order to move the solutions through before the evacuation process starts out. So thank you for being with me. Thank you so much. I appreciate so much. So in love with all of you, and remembering all of you a million years ago. I never thought I could see that.